Hi, everyone. Hey, I'm Mark. I'm the CEO of Shiny Shoe. Welcome to our very first Inkbound stream ever.
I'm Andrew, creative director at Shiny Shoe. I go by Avram on Discord, other places. So hopefully see you guys around.
And I'm Camille. I'm the community manager. You probably already see me on Discord or on Twitter. And I am going to be driving the game while Andrew and Mark sort of comment and answer all your questions. But before we get started, Mark, did you want to talk a little bit about the game before we play the trailer?
Sure, absolutely. Inkbound is an online co-op roguelike where we're trying to bring some of the kind of deep, interesting strategic decision-making that people know and love from our last game, Monster Train, into a kind of new genre, into a heavily multiplayer experience, into something that feels unique and fresh. So there's a lot to talk about with regards to the game. We're going to show off some of the game, be able to play it, be able to answer your questions. But before even kicking into that, we wanted to show off our trailer as well, so that our announcement trailer, because it shows a few things, just in case you haven't seen it, it shows a few things that we'll probably touch on as we're talking about the game. Let's play that now.
Yeah, let's do it, yeah.
A single story can create an entire world, but left unfinished can easily fall apart. Forge new paths. Face your enemies. Fight for your story.
Yep, all right. So that was our trailer, and before we go into the game, do you guys have anything that you wanted to say, what you're excited about?
Right. Now everything. We got a lot of really good questions in chat or in Discord and stuff like that yesterday after our announcement. So obviously if you guys are new to this chat, if you just showed up, you're like, what game is this? Inkbound, we're Shiny Shoe. We made Monster Train before this, a few other games. So the biggest questions I think we saw were basically a lot around combat. So how does combat work? It's a whole new combat system, all these things. So we're going to show you some of that today. I think also important to note, this is pre-alpha. A lot of things are changing. A lot of things are changing all the time. We're going to talk a little about what we're changing, how we're iterating. And if you join us, I think we're going to try to stream basically every week right around this time. We're going to figure out the best time. But I think at least next week around the same time.
Yeah.
All right, great. Get people committed already. You will see things change, and we'll talk about those changes that we're making and why we're making them. All right. So all that said, should we show them part of the game? Jump right in?
Yeah,
sure.
Let's do this.
And obviously, feel free to ask your questions in chat. We'll try to kind of keep an eye on all these different things. We'll also have little kind of breaks to pick up and catch up on those as well. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Oof.
So what are we seeing right now?
What are we seeing right now? Okay, so the structure of the game is you're online, you're playing with other people. You probably saw in the trailer, other places. Very co-op, very social game. That said, mute stream in the browser. We got some echo. We have a little feedback already.
Oh, okay. Oh, no.
Probably.
There we go.
Okay, let us know if this is better. Okay, so basically the way it works is you're going to be in your hub world. You're going to be able to create a party and join with as many people as you want. Up to right now, we're testing up to 4 people. Obviously, you saw 3 people in the trailer. We're testing up to 4. We know a lot of people have up to 4. 3 other friends. If you don't, you're also welcome to play with a smaller number. For example, today we are going to play solo. It is going to be easier to show you things. Also, we want to show that the game is very soloable. People were like, "Oh, I don't like strangers. I don't like other people. Can I play this game solo?" Absolutely, you can absolutely play the game solo. You're still going to be online. This is an online game. We have a lot of online social elements that are just really, really tightly integrated into the game. When you're in those hub areas, you can hang out with people. You can do different social emotes. Do you want to?
Yeah.
You can do one of those right now, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, pre-alpha UI here right now.
We got some work to do
cheer,
still.
some confetti.
Yeah, maybe a little funky stuff. Get things started.
Yeah, do a little funky dance there. One of the things you unlock more of through gameplay and different mechanisms is social emotes, like dances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to describe it?
Yeah. I mean,
So we're like a little bit into a run. So Inkbound is a roguelike, just like Monster Train was. And you start each run with some amount of choices that come into it. But still, during a run, you have to make many different choices. Procedural generation, of course, is in play in any good roguelike, so there's a variety, and we want you to replay the game many times, see different things, there's different outcomes, different possibilities for things that can appear, and so on. So yeah, just looking at some of the UI we have right now in general, like if we look at the ability bar on the bottom of the screen, we have a number of different abilities, some of which, before we started the stream, we've already drafted. So right now in the game, you draft abilities to fill out your ability bar as you play. So we have kind of 2 abilities that you start with, and this is depending on your class. So Inkbound is a class-based game as well. Just as in Monster Train, you can mix and match kind of a primary and subclass, which kind of affects what types of abilities and what types of items and possibilities appear. We really loved that feature in Monster Train and wanted to bring it into Inkbound as well in a cool way. So the first 2 abilities, which if you can see the tiny little text that say Q and E for their hotkeys, come with the Magma Miner class that is the primary class that Kumi has picked here. So the first ability is called Bonk. What does Bonk do, Andrew?
Whoa, what does Bonk? I mean, it's the tooltip's right there. Hopefully they can read it. But no, let's talk about Bonk. So Bonk is, it's your kind of fallback ability if you're playing the Magma Miner. It does 10 damage to all targets in a small area. So our combat system, you'll be familiar with at least the very high level of how abilities work from playing games like Diablo, action RPGs, or even MOBAs. We have things like skill shots. So attacks that go through space and hit the first thing that you're going to hit. This is not a skill shot. This hits everything in an area, and we will, once we get into a combat, so combat is separate from kind of running around in the world. So you're going to run around in the world, pick up some loot, which we're going to do here in just a minute. And then once you're in combat, you can use your abilities. And so...
we can look at maybe the rest of the abilities when we're in combat.
Once we're in combat, right. Yeah. And we have this big choose your path button that we're highlighting. We have always... Oh, there we go. All right. So being a roguelike, one thing you do is you choose your journey along... as you go, and this is you go through different regions. So we're in the Garden's Edge right now. Today it's the only one we're going to show you, but we have many different regions you can go to. After you beat this boss, at the end of it, you are going to be able to pick where you're going next. Anyway, we're not even getting that far, so I'm getting ahead of myself. Right now, what we're choosing, you are going to choose the battle, and the battle you can choose what rewards it gives you. You can also go to different events or see different NPCs. We have quests you can do. There's a lot of sort of meta things, the objectives you're going to have going into these runs that you might want to accomplish, which could also drive the direction you want to go. All right, for now, we're probably just going to have time for one battle today, is kind of our hunch. It's, deep system. We want to really kind of get into it with you guys. So it almost doesn't matter which one we pick. There are going to be different rewards, but since we're not doing a full run,
Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah,
seems
let's do it.
great. Let's do that one.
Off I go.
And then we also have these nice little things here to click when you're running around. These destructibles is what we call them internally. Pots and barrels. You just got to have those. And they explode into this currency that we can spend while we're doing on the run, that we're picking up. It can also spawn little healing orbs. Sometimes it can spawn items that we can use. All sorts of different things. So there's that. Also, I'm going to just double check about questions. I'm sure people probably have questions at this point. I think we had one from Kung Fu Quickness about what we learned from Monster Train, which is a lot about roguelikes. What makes for interesting effects or combinations, how to create a game and then let you break it. These things are really hard to do, and so we're doing a lot of iteration right now, making a lot of changes to make it so you want to set up a really strong structure of ways you can upgrade, and then obviously creating combinations and having just an awesome build by the end of it feels really good. So that's what we're trying to do with this game as well, that feeling. I'm just kind of checking chat real quick.
There was somebody who asked about classes. How many classes are you guys planning on including? One.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe just a number, since it's still a little behind the scenes or something, or.
Let's see. Well, yeah, we're still figuring out exactly when we want to reveal certain pieces of information. So I'd say enough that there's quite a few different combinations of kind of primary and subclass for the theory crafting and fun of being like, what if I mix this with this? What's going to happen with that? You know, so which if you only have a couple, then there's not enough variety there for that to feel meaningful. So yeah, I think we won't talk about all the classes today. We've got plenty of time to talk about additional classes and show off different things.
I like Ampa's response. 1 more billion classes. That's
exactly how many.
And we are designing this to be a living game. We want to have seasons of content where we do it, multiple times a year. Come out with a new season, new progression, new things to do, ways to change up the game. We want the meta game to be evolving and changing, and always kind of a little different and interesting.
Yep.
And adding classes is definitely something on our mind for seasons, where like some new mechanic or story could be getting told. And we have a class that we want to have go along with that. And so we introduce it to the game. And some seasonal mechanics might actually go the way at the end of seasons. Like we might have season-only mechanics. And some like classes might stick around after that season happens.
Do we want to go into the battle?
Do actual combat. Okay, so we've got this ring here. And this delineates when we're going to enter a battle. So we're going to run in. We have a couple seconds to position ourselves. And then battle's going to begin. And like we've said, combat is turn-based. But we also want it to resolve, like, basically as quickly as you want it to. Like, abilities happen pretty fast. Actually, one thing we're working on in multiplayer right now is maybe it can be a little challenging to coordinate because everyone's playing so quickly. It does kind of play like a Diablo or something like that. And so we're working on mechanics to help you communicate with your teammates and make those tactical choices. But for today, we're actually going to really take our time, I think, and explain to you guys what's going on.
Yep.
No, go for it.
As we came into this battle, all of the enemies got a chance to do their first action. So some of them moved around. The guy that's kind of wiggling and jiggling near the top threw out a bomb, which has a ring around it. So we have all these indicators in the world that kind of give you a sense if you're standing in that or not. And then Kumi got control of her character, and now it's her turn to take actions. That glowing orange ring, the bigger one that you see, is how much she can move right now within her current action. And as of currently in the game, you get 3 actions per turn. So that's the smaller kind of ring that is directly around her character that will update as she uses actions. And then there's also this kind of button in the HUD right above mana, which shows you how many you have as well, and that kind of glowing ring around that. And so an action is either using one of your abilities, or you can decide to pass, which sometimes makes sense to do. We've got all these like little biter guys who have gunked up the battlefield as well. So we should probably try to wipe some of them out, right?
And let's talk about that just a little bit, I think. And we absolutely should. And there's also some very good questions in chat. I'm sorry, we'll try to keep up with you guys as well. I'm going to hit one quick question. Someone asked, is this more of a live service model? It is. We really want to support this game over a long term. We want to build a community around it. Someone did ask, do we have MTX? We do have MTX. We're doing cosmetic only. No power, no NFTs, cosmetic only, because we want to support the game. Basically, that's a way for you guys to support us and to have us put that right back into the game and keep building it out and making new stuff. So this one is very much built around the community and around growing the game, and we are looking forward to doing that. All right, but back to combat.
Right, yeah. What do you guys want to do?
What do we want to do? All right, so these guys are doing the goop. So there's modifiers on the enemies when you fight them. So if you mouse over them, you'll see he's a gunker. Start of turn, drip inky goop all over. They're clearly doing that. If you stand in the goop at the end of any action, you take damage. So this is something that's like, during your turn, you still have to be avoiding it all the time. The bomb has this radius around it. That means if you end your entire turn in there, basically, or the enemy turn starts, it will explode and do a big amount of damage. So we don't want to end our turn in there. We can stand in there, for the first couple actions, but we do not want to end our turn inside that ring. Also, something just to note, we're not playing multiplayer today. Maybe next week we'll show you guys some multiplayer. Both players can take their turns at the same time. You would see someone else running around in real time. They can take an action, you can take an action, they can take all 3 actions, then we take all 3. You can choose how you want to interleave those actions with the other players that you're playing with. And combat resolution, you'll see, can go pretty quick. So it means that you can sort of have that play out however you want. Okay, but we're going to finally take a combat action.
Let's do something.
And I think we can just stick to kind of our basic abilities. Now let's pull that bonk out. We talked about bonk. 10 damage, hits an area. These biter guys, they're pretty weak. Bam. All right, we're going to take them out.
Damn. You aim it, kind of like a skill shot in a MOBA.
Yep. Yeah. Basically, all attacks are basically aimed. There's some like AE, some things that can hit your entire team, things like that.
Am I gonna make it?
But you're really kind of aiming and moving around and doing a lot in the battlefield with most of your attacks.
And so as a consequence of defeating those enemies or hitting them, we have these 2 glowing orbs that have spawned.
Right.
What are those for?
Those orbs, they give you mana, which is great. Mana is used for resources. Right now, here's a pre-alpha thing for you guys. Your mana caps out. It caps at 5 out of 5 right now for us. Obviously, you're going to be able to expand that. You're going to grow your character as this run progresses. One change we're going to make relatively soon, you might even see it next week, is we want to let your mana go over that cap. So you can pick it up here at 5, you could go to 6. That makes it more dynamic, a little bit closer to Monster Train. And that's something that we experimented with, like a little more traditional RPG model, and then we're like, actually, no, we want to let you break it a bit more. And so we're actually changing that up. That said, for now, if you were to pick it up, it wouldn't really do much for you because you're already at 5 mana. We're using our basic ability. You can also get items and equipment and other powers that increase what those do. It could be when you pick one up, you do extra damage. It could make your next attack be a critical hit. All sorts of things. Okay.
Right. How about we try our E ability, which is a movement ability to get behind, if we can, some of the biters and then see if we can position ourselves.
Maybe. Boom.
Looks good. We are also in a little bit of danger now, which is fine. We can take this damage, but if you mouse over any of these units, you'll see them sort of flashing this pinkish color. That means we're in their range. If we get further out, they're going to flash a lower, deeper color. It means we'll be out of range. So each of these units has a bit of an attack range. They're going to move. They're going to attack us. That lets us know where we can stand to take more or less damage. Right. For now, it'll be fine.
Maybe a shield?
Maybe a shield. Speaking of all of that, maybe we just drop a shield. We haven't gotten to kill quite as much as we want to, but we could use that shield ability.
Yeah, let's shield.
Use some of our mana.
So shield is a single turn kind of overcharge of your HP that blocks damage, up to whatever the shield amount that you've got. So we used the shield wall ability, I think it's called currently, just a moment ago, which gave us...
And that was our third action, so...
That was our third action. That's why the enemies started to move. Some of them attacked us, but we didn't take any damage because we had shield.
Okay.
Jordan Chin might be doing a room reference instead of a high mark.
I did see a good question. Also, Gabriot, I'll ask, are there any enemies with attacks of opportunity?
There are, and we are sort of experimenting with different ways to do that, much like this goop, and a lot of the stuff happening in combat. One of the hardest things with any new combat system is kind of communication, clear communication of what's happening. And this is definitely something you will see if you keep showing up to these streams. We are going to be developing this more over time, and we have been already internally. So for a while, it was kind of hard to tell what was going on. That said, we feel like attacks of opportunity and things like that are really kind of compelling dynamic, and we want to make sure we have things like that in the system. So yes, there will be, and you'll see some of those.
Cool. What do we want to do now?
Let's wipe out some of these biters.
Yeah, okay. No, I think we might see some more if we start doing that. So that would be a little...
Maybe. Yeah.
Let's give it a shot. Here we go. Okay, so also something that happens in combat. After you've cleared out enough of one wave, certain combats introduce a second wave. So right now we can see a bunch of enemies. They're going to spawn.
Okay.
We're going to see a bunch more biters show up.
Need to run. And I'm in the explosive zone.
And yeah, we got to get out of that explosive. That's probably the most important thing.
It looks like you can hit both of those guys if you aim
that could be good.
Yeah. So I do that, and then I'd move out of the explosive zone and then kill the bomber.
Yeah, we can take care of that guy. And that is going to wrap up this turn.
Okay. I love those animations when they bite. They're just like little... All right. Okay. New turn, new bomb.
Yep. New turn, similar problem. So these guys have a new power. So these guys are not gunkers. They are phasing. So phasing, as soon as you hit a phasing enemy, it phases, as they do. And they start dodging all your attacks. So you basically can hit them once per turn. And these guys, it's not really a big problem. Obviously, we're taking care of them in one shot. Our randomization challenge system doesn't really account for this yet. Probably at some point we won't give these to that unit. But, for now, they can get all sorts of things. So... we can,
If they're all phased right now, are they phasing or are they phased?
They're phasing. So you get your first shot is free. After that, they just dodge everything. They phase out of existence.
Okay.
So I think if it was me, I might try to kill a few and then shield up again.
Yeah, or hop out of the way maybe too. Yeah. Okay, let's see. How many can I
would go for the down angle. Looks like you can get 3 right there.
Yeah.
I'll try to take up a few questions. What you guys are resolving this turn.
Yeah.
Monkey Go-Go Beans says, does the player theoretically know everything that is about to happen before the turn resolves? Yeah, in general, you should be able to know what's going to happen. We've had some feedback. Right now, we don't show how much damage things are going to do. we've had some feedback from our current. We're doing a very limited friends and family test. We've had some feedback in internal tests that people want to see more damage that's coming into you. So that's something we're probably going to explore at some point as well. But yeah, basically we do tell you pretty much everything that's going to happen on the enemy turn to give you the ability to react to it and to play around it.
Some abilities right now have cooldowns, like if you could use the E ability again just to show that off. We don't really need to do this, but we'll do it anyways. Sure. Over there. So that one has a cooldown of 2 turns until you're able to use that again. And other abilities have a mana cost, so like the shield wall ability, or I forget the fire hand, whatever that one's called, flare.
Yeah.
The names of everything change all the time.
No, they do. I think that one just got added also, like maybe yesterday. Or a few days ago.
So those have a mana cost associated with them, so another resource to manage.
We'll just have to rename it to Firehand. Kung Fu Quickness asks, are y'all focusing on mouse and keyboard control, or is it controller Steam in parallel? No, definitely focus mouse and keyboard, PC first. There was a console question in there about if we're bringing it other places. We'd love to, like with Monster Train. We'd love to. At this point, all we're talking about, all we're focusing on is PC. We're on Steam. Please go wishlist us. Yep. Always appreciate it. You know, you got there. That's where the focus is going to be, and hopefully we'll have more news, at some point in the future.
Kumi is playing right now completely with the mouse, but you can also control your character with WASD and or WASD, and the hotkeys to trigger all of your abilities in the ability bar.
Yeah, I definitely play like WASD for controls, and then aim everything, and like numbers for like abilities, and then aim everything with the mouse. Which you can see how that also mapped to controller. Like we do think that this will be a very controller-friendly experience. It's just, we're staying focused on core gameplay iteration and other things. Making big connected multiplayer games have a lot of challenges too. So, cool. But then, keep building it.
So, do we want to show off Flare? Maybe?
Sure. You mean Fire Hands?
Fire Hands! We'll see.
Let's do it. I think this one is it's not that useful in this fight, just mostly because things aren't surviving. It does set them on fire, which is great. But, we can skip our turn just to watch it.
You want? Yeah, just watch burn.
There we go.
Oh.
Blows on the ragdoll. I love it. All right, so we won a battle, which is great. And I think we're getting pretty close to kind of calling things here. We can click on this. This is going to be a pre-alpha UI. This is going to get so much better basically today. We're working on some updates here. This can also be an item draft where you get new items. You can collect a bunch of really cool items that do a bunch of different things, give you stats, give you procs, really define your run. But, we got a new
ability draft here. Upgrade
abilities, Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, picking from a variety of options offered to you where sometimes it's unclear what's the best, but you've got to try to strategize is a big part of what makes roguelikes fun. So we absolutely want to have this kind of frequent decision-making that's paced at a kind of steady pace of, making these tough decisions about what's going to be best for my build and what's the best way to expand as this run progresses. So absolutely a goal of ours here. In this case, I don't know, I feel like after the battle we just did, I would take Earth and Tremors because we had such a horde of enemies, but that may not be true.
Our VFX artist is in chat wanting to show us show another battle with Earth and Tremors because he just worked hard to make that look good. Which I don't know if we can get to a battle. Yeah, let's go. Let's definitely pick it.
Yeah.
We can look at the map. It might be hard to get to one without... Yeah. Ooh, no, we can just one on the left. We can do that.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Andrew, one thing that I wanted to ask about, though, for our viewers, is you mentioned items, but we haven't really I don't think we've seen an item yet in this.
In this run, no.
Except these consumables, which Camille just clicked on one of them. There are consumable things like health potion and a few others that we're working on right now. But in addition to that, there are items that modify your abilities in different ways.
We're about to get one, actually.
We're about to get one?
I think so. We can open this guy.
All right.
There's a chest. So this is kind of one of the rarer ways to get one. There's a lot of other ways, beating battles, things like that.
Oh, sorry. I didn't
we just clicked it. It's gone. We can't open that UI because it's going away. We're not going to show that UI.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys caught it. This will be a little treat. You can go back in the YouTube video. You can see what was on there. Whatever item we just got. Who knows? It's gone forever now. We are updating our on-screen HUD UI to actually show your items on the screen. So that is something you probably won't. Maybe you'll see next week, actually.
Game Mosquito asks, was the potion labeled a plot device? I believe it probably was.
It was a plot device. We're trying that out as a name for our, the functional name is called world items. So they're kind of things that you get to use outside of combat. So you can use health potions out of combat. There's a fishing pole, and something we're working on is the ability to use fish out of combat. They're going to give you combat buffs. Get an anger fish, and it gives you an anger buff for more damage in combat. Just makes you mad. Anyway, let's at least show Tremors. The people demand it, and by the people, I mean the person who worked on it. Which is totally fair, part of the fun of making games.
All right.
So this enemy has a health bar, so certain kind of key enemies or bosses will have a health bar at the top of the screen.
Right. So yeah, in this battle we only have to beat the boss to win. Everything else goes away as soon as you kill it. So, and it has its own special boss buffs, and
Yeah.
All right.
ARPG style.
Let's do it.
Boom.
Oh,
look at that. That is really satisfying.
So cool.
That's so satisfying. It's
nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Kung Fu Quickness continues with the good questions. Also, someone who I've known for a while. I'm glad to see him around. Cosmetic or stat-based progression between runs, or more so clean every run. So, something we're definitely working on. There's a little bit of stat-based progression, a little rogueliteness. However, we want to push most of the power, most of the growth into the runs themselves. But there is a decent bit of other progression. So, like your level and your experience points that you're getting, beating battles, doing different things, leveling you up. Unlocks a lot of different cosmetic stuff. It can also unlock run options. So one thing we just put in that we haven't fully implemented yet, but we're working on, is new items, new draftable things. Potentially some of the classes could be unlocked behind that kind of progression. There are quests that you pick up when you're in the hub area and you do them. And that can also change kind of your goals in a run. Maybe someone wants you to go visit a certain area or do a certain string of things within a run. So you could play the run doing a certain type of quest that someone asked you to do. So, yep. All that stuff.
Okay. Let's see. I don't want to be close to this guy.
No, I think they,
Yeah, they kind of hurt. So, but do we want to go to the end of this?
We don't have to finish this battle.
Okay.
I think we can probably do a little more Q&A. Go to the full, dive out of the game. We got to show Tremors. That was really the only thing we were doing.
Alrighty.
Well, one thing that was on my mind that I thought would be interesting to bring up,
sure.
we talked about the plot device. Is that thing called a plot device, which is kind of about the lore of the game. We are set in a world where anything written by special characters with special ink can become reality. So something that's kind of like the high-level fictional setup for the game. And something that you mentioned gameplay-wise, but we didn't actually show, and we're not going to be showing today, is part of the kind of social fabric of the game is this grand library that you encounter frequently, which is kind of our hub world for Inkbound. And so it was in the announcement trailer, though. So if you go back and rewatch that, one of the very first things you see is a group of heroes. It's where you could party up with friends and strangers. Somebody asked about matchmaking. We're still figuring out exactly how we're going to do that, but safe to say we want it to be easy to find parties if you want to play in multiplayer, so we are exploring various options there.
Right.
But in this library is how you kind of enter different worlds, so to speak. It's there's a portal that's in the game too. It's you create a portal into another world via these books that are in the Athenium.
Also, I can show them how to find people right now. Actually, someone will take me up on that. There we go. You type it in chat. You just be hey, anyone want to party up? And then
we don't have it on screen, but he's typing.
You're right. You're right. I can't see it.
We have kind of MMO style chat. You can talk amongst your party. You can talk amongst people who are not playing with you. Private messages and so on. We want to have kind of a ongoing social fabric in the game to kind of really try to bring people together to play interesting multiplayer co-op roguelike runs. It's one of the kind of design bets that we're taking, and it's one of the unique things about the game is trying to make a online co-op roguelike.
Exactly. So some good questions in chat. Try to run down real quick. So there's a +1 to this one from Hellenbert and the Anthrowolf. Does it have friendly fire? Yes and no. Not directly. You can't hit people with your abilities. However, there's certain enemies that will be smashing an area, and when you hit them, they will turn to face you and try to smash you. And if you were to have your friend be there, you can have it turn to smash both of you, or you could move out of the way and have it just smash them. So
that happened to me today, actually. I was playing with another person on the development team, Steve, to call you out, and I was trying to position myself perfectly, and then Steve summoned the kind of aggro of an enemy onto both of us, which ended up with me dying, and then later I tried to troll him by doing it back to him, but yeah, so...
it's a lot of parties can fall apart that way, so you gotta be careful. So, On the other hand, though, if someone was going to get hit, you can pull it away from them if you want to, collaborate more than try to murder your friends.
Right. So Kumi's subclass earlier, which is one that was shown in the trailer, is called the Obelisk, which is a kind of more shieldy, defensive-oriented character class, which is what gave her that ability where she had the ability to get a bunch of shield all in one turn. And so, like, peeling aggro off of an enemy by hitting them last could be a good strategy if you had an Obelisk in your party who could absorb the damage without perhaps minimal or limited, risk to them dying.
Right. Ooh. All right. Some more good questions. You got one?
So Evil 2, how will the game be balanced in single versus multiplayer?
Yep, enemies do get stronger. So enemies get a bit stronger. Obviously, with 2 players, we don't double all the numbers, but we increase it. We're trying to kind of find the right balance. And, it can be a little more challenging also to play with other people. So we do reward you. You get more experience. You get more other rewards for playing with more players as well. Monkey Go-Go Beans asked one I liked, which was, will the betas have multiplayer, or is it too far out to discuss? Absolutely yes. This game is multiplayer. It is online. Couldn't turn it off if we tried. So you will be playing with other people when you're in the beta.
I saw somebody ask earlier, I'm sorry, I forgot which name it was, but this was 10 minutes ago. How does difficulty scaling work in general in runs, and reference covenants from
absolutely. So this is definitely one of those pre-alpha things we're working on. We have difficulty. We are trying to figure out exactly where it fits and how you unlock it, especially with multiplayer. The unlocking component gets a little strange because it's not just you, it's other people's unlocking. So one thing we're talking about is kind of giving you a wider range up front, but giving you different objectives to go and maybe tackle different difficulties or things like that. So unlike Covenants, they're more straight up unlocked, and it's more about variation and variety and challenge and choosing what you want to do at any given time. In general, you can still make experience progress at any level. We want this to be accessible to everyone. We want it to be, if you just have fun playing it, the lowest level of challenge. We want you to have fun doing that. But there might be certain objectives or certain unlocks you can only get if you increase that challenge.
Let's see. Somebody mentioned, is it going to be online co-op or also split screen couch co-op?
It is online co-op.
Yeah.
It's going to require kind of your own account. You have to log in. You're going to be connected. You're going to have your own progress there. We know that people like co-op or split screen. There's ways to do that. So I could see it being something we would want to explore, find a way to do in the future. But at least for our betas and for right now, it's going to be individual.
Oh, also, so Kay Zeno asked a good question. What happens if a party member dies during combat? We didn't showcase that.
Should we save that for next week?
Yeah, maybe next week.
Yeah, we can do some multiplayer next week.
Yeah, okay.
We'll get into it.
Cool. Let's see. I think that is it. Does anybody have any other questions, about what you've seen or highlights that you really liked? Pre-draft system.
It's also a good question. Should I tackle it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So there's a plan for a pre-draft system, spending currency to buy a guaranteed ability. So items, which are kind of an even bigger randomized pool than abilities, on those draft opportunities, so they don't all come from chests, on those draft opportunities, you can spend currency at an escalating cost to re-roll it. So it gives a reason for currency to exist. You don't get to buy things directly that you want. Still roguelike, still random. You have to work around it. But you can spend it to sort of optimize your chances for getting something you're looking for.
No.
I think you got a rum and Coke.
This is just coffee. Yesterday, we had to be up at 5 for the announcement, so still rolling on that one.
I wish I had a rum and Coke.
I know.
Maybe when we're not doing lunchtime streams, or maybe it's Friday.
Yeah,
maybe it's rum and Coke time next time. Good idea.
All right.
All right.
That's one last question I see in there. It's when will the beta be going out? And unfortunately, we're not ready to announce that yet. Yeah. So it's gonna be some amount of time. It's not gonna be tomorrow. So we're still pre-alpha right now. We want to get a bit further along before we open that up, but we are definitely excited to get a bunch of people into a pre-release beta.
That is our biggest goal right now. Basically, is.
Yeah, I want to meet everyone. I want to meet more people and get them
that
playing.
Feedback.
Yes, and get that feedback.
I'm a big believer in the feedback in that F8 button.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Send it to us.
Well, great. I think that's it. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. It was so great to see some people from the Discord in the chat room. That was really amazing. Again, speaking of the Discord, please join the server if you haven't already.
Discord.gg/play Inkbound or...
And if you're not going to remember that, the link is also in our profile. We also have the Steam link if you liked what you saw and you want to wish list it. And also, I will be sharing on Twitter some art. A lot of people said that they really like the art, and I have to agree. The art's amazing. We have a really great art team, so there will be some art shown in the very near future. But before we head out, what were your favorite moments? And
Oh, God.
and what is there anything else that you want to say?
It's great to see people. I mean, it's starting building a new community around this game, and it's great to see all you guys here, and it's just really exciting.
Yeah, it's fun to be streaming again. It's been a while.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.